Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to make the case for why tested athletes should avoid supplements, like just completely avoid them. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skill at my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. And when I say avoid supplements, I don't mean single ingredients that you can buy in bulk that have verified lab reports, right? Because we know things like creatine work. Creatine isn't banned in sports, and it would basically be impossible to test for. If you look at the biology behind it, you wouldn't be able to test for it because people would have to go vegan to basically come up negative for it, and that's not going to happen. So something like creatine, though, here's what I would say with that, because we're going to jump into the others in a minute. I just want to get that caveat out of the way. You can buy pure creatine monohydrate. You can buy it by the kilo bulk, and you know that it's pure because you're buying it from companies that have it tested and everything, right? And it's really, really, really cheap. You're going to spend $20, $30 a year on it, right? That's all you're going to spend. But when it comes to everything else, and I'll even go so far as to say protein powders or even proprietary blends of creatine, if you're a drug-tested athlete, and I don't care whether you're high school, I don't care whether you're college, I don't care whether you're professional, I don't care whether you're going to go compete in tested powerlifting or tested bodybuilding, although they're not athletes, the point still stands. They are drug-tested. The supplement industry has a track record, right? They have a long track record of spiking their products with drugs. There being contaminants and everything else, and sometimes it's done further down the chain. Maybe even the owner of the company doesn't even know. It's a necessary part of keeping their industry going. It's a necessary part of it. And because it's so common and it's happened so many times, and in some cases, they're putting stuff in that they don't even realize, oh yeah, they actually WADA put out a memo on this. We shouldn't be adding colostrum. They're putting warning labels saying you might test positive for IGF-1 metabolites and things due to our colostrum product, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, people need to step back and say, okay, this is stupid. I don't need to put this into my body. Now we can get into the point of, well, they might give you an advantage. No, they don't. Supplements don't work. This is 2018 going on 2019. If you honestly still think supplements work, you're either really naive or you're really stupid. I'm going to go so far as to say that, a lot of athletes aren't known for their intellect. We have multi-million-dollar athletes talking about the flat earth right now. It's fair to say that they're not the sharpest knife in the drawer oftentimes, and that's fine. But there's a difference between not being real bright, being a little bit slow, and being a flat moron, right? But let's be honest here. If you have been training for several years, been in the iron game for several years, and you still think supplement works, you're probably on the slower end of the spectrum. That's reality. That's sad reality of it, but that's true at this point in the game, guys. Let's just be honest about it. People who can look at data and think critically know supplements don't work. At least I would hope they do. Few exceptions. Again, it has to do with how long you've been in the iron game, right? If you're fairly new, you've been in the lifting world a year or two tops, it's understandable. You haven't been exposed to all the information. I'm talking about the long timers, people who've been training 10 years who still think this stuff works. You're either trying to sell it to you or they're stupid. Or in some cases, like Jerry Ward, they're both, right? They're both. But that aside, you've got to look at this and say, okay, they don't really work. The only supplements that really work through either placebo or because they put drugs in it. Or it's a convenience factor like protein or creatine, right? Because not everyone wants to eat a pound of steak every day. To be honest here, creatine is, in some cases, really is a convenience product. Protein powder, very much a convenience product. You've got to look at that and factor in that convenience versus the risk of you losing your scholarship, losing $1 million contract, being banned in your sport, losing your record, right? You've got to weigh that out. Convenience is not worth it, all right? Supplements don't work unless they're either through one of those convenience products, they're a placebo, or they've been spiked with drugs. Now, that's usually what you find when you have a new product that comes out that everyone swears by, and they have an supposedly independent lab test, and they go pay a university that comes back with these results. Oftentimes you see even signs that what they sent to the university that they didn't run a test on the product that they just gave to the test subjects are oftentimes spiked with drugs. I mean, that was something we said about possibly BioGrow. Common sense dictated that, looking at the research. Even the researchers like, oh, we got this effect we couldn't explain. Gee, that's one of the side effects of oral anabolic steroids, right? Yeah. The product you put in your people who made these amazing results got this result. It couldn't be explained by the colostrum. They made more muscle growth than the product should have produced, and they had steroid side effects that couldn't be explained by the researchers, by what supposedly was in the product. Yeah, okay, that was in the notes. They didn't call it steroid side effects, but we all know that that's what it was. Anyone who's been in the game knows that that's exactly what that was. They threw a little super drill in there. All right? Exactly what happened. So they're spiked with drugs. Well, if they're spiked with drugs, you're in trouble if you're a drug-tested athlete. Unless you know exactly what it was spiked with and you know how to make sure you cleared the drug test for it, you're in trouble. Placebo, athletes are masters of placebo and self-programming. Who makes the best athletes? People say, well, it's the most genetically gifted person with the right muscle fiber distribution. No, well, that's true. That's true. That's part of your genetic base. What's the other factor of it? That ability to self-program, right? Your champions oftentimes have a different mindset. They've got a different mindset. They've got that mindset that allows them to be delusional enough to be successful. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you're a 15-year-old kid right now and you think you're going to get a $30 million contract in a sport, you're delusional. Even if you really do get there, you're still delusional for thinking it's going to happen. Athletes are amazing at self-programming and programming their delusions to the point sometimes where they can turn them into reality. It's a gift. That's a gift in and of itself. Self-programming, right? Good athletes are already amazing at self-programming. You don't need placebo. You can program your own mind to get a placebo anytime you want. Part of being a good athlete is part of the mindset of a champion. Work on that. Work on self-programming so that you don't need the silly-ass placebo product that might make you fail a drug test, right? That's what we need to be doing. That's what you need to be doing. It's silly. It's silly. You don't need any of this stuff. You don't need it. None of it actually works. Then we come over to the problem even with the protein powders, proprietary blends on creatine. How do you know what it's spiked with? And I hate to say that other than certain protein powder companies, which, I do like certain ones because Consumer Reports has reviewed them. Do you trust this company to not spike it with drugs, right? You can just eat real food and get that. You can eat real food and get 100% of the benefits of protein powder. Even the whole post-workout thing. Let's say you do train fasted. Because that's what all the studies are done on that show the post-workout anabolic windows on people who train fasted. If you don't train fasted, this is not a real thing. You don't even need to worry about these fast-absorbing proteins and carbs. Chocolate milk beats the best post-workout shakes in studies that look at muscle protein synthesis. All right, go to the store and buy some chocolate milk if you're going to train fasted and you're seeking maximum performance as an athlete. You don't need the protein shake. You don't need it. It's not actually beneficial. It's a convenience because you don't want to go buy protein and put it in the fridge, right? You want something you don't have to refrigerate. You don't want to buy milk. Okay, I get it. But, keeping milk in the refrigerator, drinking some milk post-workout is better than getting popped on a drug test. Is it really worth the risk? Unless you really and truly trust your company. The convenience isn't worth it. Proprietary blends on creatine, they don't work. That's bullshit to sell you the one product that works and they throw some other stuff in. And that product, they're charging you $30 for something that has $1 worth of creatine in the whole tub, right? Go buy the $1 worth of creatine. Buy your 1 year supply for $20, $30 bulk from a company that makes pure raws, right? Straight creatine monohydrate, mix it with a little milk, drink it post-workout, all right? This is an easy solution. You don't need the proprietary blend. You don't need to take the risk. It's not worth it. So it comes down to the point of ultimately, since we know the supplements don't really work other than the convenience factor, and you're risking failing a drug test, don't take supplements, guys. And it's not because this is drugs in it. It's because it's the drugs in it that you don't know the amount and the dose and what it is. Let's be honest here. If you're smart and you know what you're taking and you know how to get around drug testing, you can use drugs and beat drug testing, right? You can do that at the high school level. You can do that at the professional level. That can be done. Done all the time. It's done every single day because you know exactly what you're getting. But the moment you put something into your body that you can't account for, i.e. the wild card, what did they spike my product with? Hell, what did they spike my black market drug with? Did they spike it with is it really what they claim it is, or is there something else in the mix? It's a problem you run into with even black market stuff, right? You can't account for it. You get popped for that. You get popped for that. Happens all the time. Well, the same thing will happen with your supplement. Guy will be on 5 different drugs and test positive for something that he's not taking and then wonder why. It's because it came in the supplement he was taking, or it was one of his black market products was adulterated with a different drug than he thought was in there, and he fails the drug test for the drug he doesn't take, but passes the test for the 5 drugs he knew he was taking and knew how to time them and use them correctly, right? That's the reality of it. Supplements represent a wild card that you can't account for. If you're smart, you don't take them if you're a tested athlete. And if you do, I don't feel sorry for you, because it's common knowledge that people fail drug tests all the time for supplements. Common sense at this point should tell you they don't work. Don't take the risk. It's just stupid. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.